Shit! Good evening, and welcome to the laboratory. Tonight's a really cool night because we're going to start putting the cage into the HellUvaWillys build. But first, I kind of want to ask your guys' opinion on how to get this channel to grow a little bit better. I do want to sell this car eventually, and I want to get more eyes on it, but if I could honestly get to a point to where I could raffle this thing off or like do like a merchandise buy for like entries, I would rather do that because I think it's so cool. But if you guys got any ideas, like put them down in the comments on how I can like grow this or just get more eyes on it, because like this stuff is cool to me. I don't know if it is to you. I want more people to see how to do it. And honestly, I just want to get to a point to where we could like raffle these off with like merchandise purchases or something, some way to at least pay for the build, but like give everybody like an even scale on being able to win it. Anyhow, tonight we're going to go through and start building the cage for the 41 Willys Kingpin, the HellUvaWillys build. And I'm going to go and start with doing the main bar, main hoop up in the back. So it's going to basically be in here. We're going to go through how I'm going to template everything and try and get the bar itself tacked in. Normally I would get the trunk done first before I went through and put this part in, but because the trunk ties into the cage on this build, because I'm trying to make the cage so I can hide it in the interior, we got to do this part first and then we can get to the trunk. So a lot of little areas to this car, a lot of difficult spots we got to get through, and a lot of hurdles. But we'll get it figured out. I'm Zach Leber. This is the laboratory. Let's get to work. This car has 707 horsepower. It's a lot to put on the street without a cage. These things are just glorified motorcycles when you run a fiberglass body with no cage inside of it, and you can't get away from it when it rolls over. So we're going to do some safety precautions here. First things first, we're going to pull the doors off. It'll make it a lot easier. I don't have to work around them constantly. Then we're going to start making our template. Probably not going to be fun because I want this thing to be like literally an inch away from the outside wall. And the only reason that I'm not going all the way in is because I've read in a lot of places that the body will take some shock from a wreck, and you need to be about an inch inside of your outer panels. So we're going to follow that because it sounds smarter than I am. That could have sucked really bad. Nice and easy. But it is freaking me out a little bit because I can't really grab onto this thing very well. That was a long way down. Holy cow. Give me one of them spinning whistle Magnum 44s. I don't know why that stuck in my head. First thing I'm going to do is set down some packing paper. I'm going to use this to actually make a template for the outside or the inside of the body. I want to be able to kind of draw up this cage beforehand, and I think it'll make it a lot easier on me like when I do my bends. So because there's going to be several of them across this whole bar, I think the bar is going to end up being like 10 foot 5 inches or something like that from point to point. That's a lot to mess with, and this DOM is super expensive at this point, so like I don't want to mess up a whole bunch of times and cost myself more money because I don't have a lot of that to be throwing at tubing. So yeah, we're gonna make a template first and see if we can draw something up on the template to maybe show our bends. I think it's a good idea. Might not be, might be a joke. I don't know. What I want to do is kind of map out the inside dimensions of the body. And we were at 42.5 inches high. So one of the things I like to do first is actually mark my mounting plate. Yes, I'm using a mounting plate. It's going to be bolted with grade 10 or grade 8 bolts. 3/16 plates on both sides. The mounting plate I marked at 1.25 inches away from the wall over here, and that's going to be the edge line of my first tube. So for the main hoop itself. So just going to go from there over to there, all the way around. But that's basically where we're going to start. It'll make it easy. I don't know if you guys can see this really well, but the template's done. And I went through, marked all my bend points. It's gonna show squared off, obviously, but with the bender, it'll be radiused. And I think it's gonna end up being about 10.5 feet of material. So it's gonna be a little difficult, but we're gonna give it a shot. And something that I like to do before I really get going on any of these kinds of projects is try and clean all the grease and stuff off of your bar. And that's why, because that's about 2 feet, maybe 4 feet or whatever that I just hit with a little bit of brake cleaner. Okay, I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see it, but there is a line that runs all the way down. I was able to get it very straight, shockingly. So if you look, I have that line that I drew all the way down the center. I also have my begin of the bender line, which basically I run off of here, and that's where I'll actually start my designated spot for every bend all the way down the tube. Something I like to do is once I get this first line, I like to go out and do 1 inch increment marks on this first line. That way I can get a good idea of where the bend actually gets placed all the way around the radius that it does. I don't know if I explained that good, but you'll get the idea. This is what's really nice about using a template and like making a really close template to your car is you can set it up as you're going. One nice thing about doing the notches every inch after you set your main bend line is where like you're going to set your bender is now I know that from that line it's 5 inches to the center of the radius. So all I need to do to get the next bend line is go to my next inside area here and measure back 5 inches, and we're going to hit it right on the nose for where we need to be, or at least close enough that it looks professional. We're going to pull through until we see our mark, and I can see it right here. Shift the bender just a little bit to get her lined up the way I need. I'll let her sit down. Get this guy set up now. And if you're getting any binds or anything in here where these pins aren't falling directly down, it means that you have this plate off and that your bar is not coming in straight. But our bar's coming in straight. So I want to get this guy in. Just like that. And then I'm going to step this guy back. And I want to make sure I can get you guys to see this. So I have my center line here. I also made a little mark where my center line was last time. So I can hit it correctly all the way down the line. And I shouldn't have to worry about whether or not this thing is straight, because that line should make it straight. Should. We don't live in a perfect world. We just gotta keep that in mind. I also do have to kind of keep some pressure down because she does try and rotate a little bit as you're putting your set bolt in place. So this one needs to go to 45, but we're going to check. We have everything set up. We have our clip, clamp, whatever you want to call it, in, dies in, dies in. We have our little drop guy here that holds the main push bar in, and everything else is set. So we're going to just take her right up to 40. We will have to reclock this. You got to reset this, drop this pin down. Sometimes I got to give her a little push. I don't know why. Like that, and then we're going to run out to 45. Let's go 49, 48. I like to keep it kind of loose. Oh, shit! Okay, shockingly, I was able to make it work. I got lucky, which happens more times than it should. But now we're going to go through and cut the ends off, and we're going to fit it in, and that's going to be all for tonight because it is getting late. And I'm getting tired, like really tired. All right, boys, girl. Moment of truth. Let's see if we can get this guy fitting here somehow. I've been out here since 8 o'clock. I got out here at 4 o'clock. It's 11. I worked all day. I gotta work tomorrow. About ready to call it quits, boys. Why is it stuck in my head? I think we're gonna give up for tonight. Okay, let's try this one more time. I had to... All right, let's try this one more time. I put a bend right in the very peak to see if I can get it to narrow up a little bit. This is not fun. That's like right there, too. That's the worst part. Come on. And it's too tall. Shit. I love building hot rods. Have I told anybody how much I love building hot rods? I've told Lacey a lot of times. I gotta get back out.
There's no way to like grind it.
Oh, so she's tight to the ceiling. I can't even lift it up. So.
Well, I was thinking move it forward and then grind it like down here while it's still in, but I don't know your life, so.
I fucking freaking don't either. It does fit in there really tight though. That is a good thing. All right. Now to reverse this and see if I can get it back up. Take a inch off both sides. I am really happy with the fit on this though. I actually did mean to look at the look at the camera. Oh, this video is gonna have so much good blooper reels because this has been just this has been an asshole of a job since I started yesterday. That took forever.
You spent a lot of as I'm standing on it.
Yeah. Well, but I have it now. So what I'm going to do is make a template of that and then cut an actual 16 gauge cut on the table and put all my notches on it.
But minus an inch.
Minus several. Well, you want to leave them long though, because if it ends up, the Kingpin's a lower car than what the gasser is. You sit a lot lower in it. So you're actually up about 3 inches in the normal gasser. So this would have been the right height.
Well, obviously you want it to be longer than shorter anyway.
Yeah.
You can't.
I hit it. I
cut it twice and it's still too short.
Yeah. Just gonna have to get the metal stretcher out.
Yeah.
That is kind of a thing, but not really. It's not like the good old. It's not the board stretcher, you know. No, not in a safety thing. Hey. I cut an inch off of both sides. I won't lie, I'm getting really tired of wrestling with this thing. My knees are starting to really hurt. That was a lot of work. That was every bit of 8 hours to do this one tube. Yeah. Yeah. But I did put the plates and everything in, but that took a long time. For the next part, we got to get this thing centered up where we want it. It's a little bit narrower than I wanted it to be, so I'm going to favor the driver's side and then pull the passenger side, which will dial it right into where it needs to go. I'm going to figure out how to get this thing somewhat stable so it can't twist or anything. I'll put some magnets on the floor, I think, and then possibly some clamps and basically just get the driver's side tacked in. I am going to use my MIG welder to tack it in, and then we'll go through and TIG weld everything later. I just feel like that's probably a little bit easier on me than having to get the TIG welder out and then put the handle and stuff on, because it's set up for foot pedal right now. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. Let's get to it. Fuck. Too much. All right. Now that we have the back bar or the main hoop installed, I'm going to go through and clean up another piece because we can start putting our back bar in. And this is why we want to clean them. Terrible. Probably can't see the marks, but they're there. Yeah, we're going to use the diamond chop saw to cut the tubes out. The reason it's going so far back is because our trunk hinges are going up to it. Hopefully we're close. I'm gonna say that's really good. This is my JD Squared Notch Master. I love this thing. It's actually really neat. It's a notcher, coper, whatever you want to call it. It's basically just for round tube, and it's how I will get close to perfect notches for the tube here for the back bar to fit into our like main hoop. It's pretty neat because you can actually articulate the drill left or right, lock it in, and you can bring it up and down so you can change the angle and where the hole saw is going to favor, like to what side that you're going to use. So on our back bar, we needed to favor the outside of the bar. And I'm just going to take a little bit of a time. Looks like we're going to take about 1/4 of an inch. I think I'm going to bring it back just a little bit. And I also set this at a 4-degree offset because our bars turn in and it's actually up in that turn in. So this is going to take a little bit of time. And if it's not perfect, we can always come back in with grinder and clean it up, but she's going to be close. We're going to want to use plenty of cutting oil. And you want a real good heavy hand on this thing. And I like to take a measurement from the edge of the die, and we're at 1 3/4. Now we got to go through and just kind of clean stuff up a little bit, basically clean our mess. Something I do like to do is take some steel wool on the end that we're going to be welding on. We'll just clean it up a little bit. Make sure none of that grease is still on there. Yeah, that was the first shot, and it's perfect. Nice thing about YouTube is I can pretend like it's the first shot right off the rip, and you guys will never know the difference. I don't really have a good way to hold this thing up into place. I need to get some of those fancy clips, but because money's tight right now, I'm not going to do that. So, go the old-fashioned way. Use a ratchet strap. So we should at least be close to level. Floor's level. Level. We are at 0, 0. And we're at 0, 0. Okay, so next thing we need to do is make sure we're right around 4. We're at 4, 5. So we're at 3, 2. I think I read that wrong. I did. 3, 8. Okay, so we want this to read the same. It's rated 3, 8. I don't know how I'm doing this today, but things are oddly going well. All right, like I said earlier, we're just going to tack this thing in with the MIG welder, and then we'll come back and make her nice with the TIG. You know, I'm really happy with how this came out. I've got a lot of time in it, so I'm, at least excited about the fact that it fit well. The back bar here fit well. Now we can start getting our hinges and stuff hooked to it and get the trunk swinging, which is really important. I want to get that done, and I want to get the dash in, so that way we can just blast out on the front end and get the hood working the way it should be. It's got to tilt forward. It's going to be really cool. But I did promise in the last video that I was going to show you guys how to install the rear fenders on one of these cars. So we're going to do the 41Willys rear fenders, and then I'm going to call it a night because I'm tired. We have our driver's side rear fender here, and we're going to go through and drill a couple holes. I'm only going to do 3 on this one because I have that custom floor. You're going to want to go in, and about 1 inch in from the corner, you're going to do probably every 6 inches or so. It'll be like 4 or 5, probably 4. So we're just gonna go in a little bit. I think this is a 9/32 bit. Can you of them? And we're gonna use 1/4 bolts to mount this thing. All right. Now that my battery's died on my camera, I basically went through and drilled out this center hole after we drilled the couple up in the actual ridge that's on the inside of this part of the fender. I put my middle one in. It's still loose. So what I want to do is shove it in. And like I said, was saying in the other part where I, had my battery die, this is a lot better to do this with a friend. This is not easy. Or a good jack. I've just done a lot of them. You can already see the fender's bringing itself in. And I like to grab a couple of extensions for my drive. That way I don't have to grind my hands into the fiberglass trying to find the bolt itself. I can't give you a measurement left or right because they're in or out or whatever you want to call it. This is going to be designated by how wide your tires are. I do try to make sure I set them straight up and down from the front of the car. The Kingpin has a little bit of a difference because the fenders do like to curve in on both ends. I'll end up coming back and pushing them out, but that's beside the point of what we're doing. So we got it pushed in, we got our jack down here shoving up, and it's starting to look like it fits. Okay, so you can see we got her close, not perfect. I am gonna have to take and shift this thing about a 1/4 inch forward. I kind of figured that when I started seeing the back line, but it's really simple. And most of the stuff on these cars is simple. A lot of people overcomplicate it. It doesn't need to be complicated. We just got to kind of keep at it and look at it from a different perspective of this is hard. It's just a lot. There's a lot to these cars. All right, that's enough for today. Little recap. Took the doors off. We got our main hoop installed. We got our back bar installed. We do have to solid weld everything, but I want to get the rest of the bars put in before I solid weld anything and get the trunk swinging before I solid weld anything. And we also went through and I kind of gave you guys a speed run through of how to put rear fenders on a 41 Willys. It's not hard. None of this stuff is like hard. It just takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time and you got to just kind of think through it before you execute. You can't start one of these projects and think that it's not a project because they are a project. Each one is a little bit different no matter how many times you build them. I bet I have put together 150 cars, maybe close to 200, and I've laminated probably 400. I couldn't tell you at this point. I've got 2 decades in this game. If you guys don't mind, go down in the comments. Let me know what ways you can think that I could advertise this a little bit better. Like I said, I do want to sell this car, but if I could pull enough of a following or a way to get it out there to where like we could sell merchandise to win this car, and if I thought I could actually get enough people to buy stuff to at least cover the cost of the car itself, I want to kind of get this channel rolling more than anything. And I'm just fighting to look for ways to grow it. But it was a good day. It was very, very busy. I put a lot of hours into this. It was actually 2 days, well, 2 evenings or whatever you want to call it. It was a Saturday night and a Sunday night. And I think I had like 10 hours, maybe 8 hours in bending that main hoop just because of the fact that it took so much time to measure everything and measure the inside of the car and then template it over. And overall, it went well. I'm actually kind of more impressed than I am shocked. And we're going to wrap it up there. I'm Zach Leber. This is the Laboratory. And until next time, go build something.